Welcome to our podcast and strap in for Movie Monday. Hi, I'm Minky Madison.
And I'm Jack Green.
Today on Movie Monday, we discuss Death of Me, the horror mystery thriller. The synopsis is a vacationing couple wakes up to find they have no memory of the night before, and in tracing their steps, discover a video of one of them being murdered by the other. And what did you rate it?
3 to 3.5.
Really? That's good. If I was just basing it off the first half, I would have given it a 3, but I have to do it as a whole. And I gave it 1.5 because I feel like the second half just is 1.5 worthy to my.
Oh wow, that's sad.
Yeah. If we just count the first half, I would give it more, but
I rate mine on just overall viewing experience. Yeah, I can definitely have a lot of problems with the film, but if I found it enjoyable pretty much all the way through. So that's usually how I go by my rating.
I only enjoyed the first half. So because of that, I feel like I can't give it 3 because I can't recommend it to anyone because I would tell them only watch the first half because the second half sucks. But it's okay that we view it differently.
Yeah, I was hoping for some. Yeah, I got some vindication for the characters, and so I was on board for that, and I got to see that happen through the second part of the film. So at least you get a little bit of that. It's not what I wanted, but it's. I think that's what kept me watching it. I'm just not turning it off. Right? Is that I care
Yeah,
what happened to them.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
So for me, it succeeded in that capacity. But I do agree with you. There's many flaws and errors that we can talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, stop and watch the movie first now or strap in for major spoilers. So, did you have a favorite line?
Not really. I don't think I really had a favorite line in terms of at least comedy.
Well, favorite line is favorite line. It doesn't have to be funny.
Oh, okay. Well, I like
But
when she was talking about the necklace and she says it's not yours to give. And she's like, what the does that mean?
that's funny. I didn't really have any either, honestly, but last minute I threw in this one, and it's not like it's amazing. It was just the only one that really stuck out. And when they pull up to the bar for the 80th time, and Samantha says, "This is the part where I tell you not to go in," and Christine says, "This is the part where I don't listen." It was kind of funny, but I mean, they wouldn't really say that in real life, I'm sure. But yeah, to me, that was the most interesting line.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. So I only have one pro. So I'll go ahead and say my pro and then you can go into yours because I'm sure you have more than I do.
Okay.
So I liked the premise and the first half of the movie kept my attention for the most part because I really do have a fear of visiting another country and something scary happening to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of waking up and not remembering the night before and finding a video on our phone of my significant other doing me in would be pretty unsettling, to say the least. And it did follow logic somewhat in the beginning, but I'd say around the time Neil kills himself, the movie nosedived and was too repetitive with her passing out and reawakening randomly and not making a lot of sense anymore, which my cons will go into detail on that. But that was really it. So I wanted to like it. I liked the first half. It kept my attention. It had a good pace to it. But then the logic wasn't there and it just got boring for me and I can't like it as much as I had wanted to.
Yeah. I like the premise too. I like them waking up and not knowing what had happened and kind of having to figure out everything. It was just gross with her like throwing up and grass.
Yeah.
Like I like some of that. Like that was kind of creepy and cool, and you didn't really know what was going on. There's some mystery with like the necklace, and that was keeping her alive, and she's actually already dead. And so yeah, it was interesting. And then you kind of had some like supernatural island lore, and there's a lot of stuff I liked in terms of the storyline and special effects and whatnot. But really, it stops there. I did care about the characters and what happened to them, but there was no really big twist or surprises. not much more to add in terms of praise than what you did, but I did enjoy more aspects of the film in terms of just beyond the story and how it was handled. So we can go into those.
Oh, the note I was gonna say was the main guy, Neil,
Mm-hmm.
is Luke Hemsworth, and I didn't know, but he's the oldest brother to Liam Hemsworth and Chris Hemsworth.
Well, I never seen him before.
Yeah, I hadn't either, but apparently he's the older brother, so it made me laugh because I was like Hemsworth, and I looked and he's the older brother of them, so I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, he had a like Thor type quality, like they all do.
Yeah, like now I can see it. It's funny.
They're all super strong, big guys.
Yeah, they actually look fairly similar. It's
Mm-hmm.
fun. Well, I guess it makes sense they're brothers, but so should I go into my cons or how do you want to do it?
Yeah, you can go into your cons.
So my first con and my main con really is much of the movie was unrealistic. Most important being that they said many women would volunteer to be the sacrifice. So why the hell would they do it to someone unsuspecting for no reason in the beginning when there's no shortage of people willing and wanting to do it?
Yeah, why
It
did
makes
they
sense.
lie about that?
Yeah, like if people are lining up to do this, why?
I think that was part of the lie, though. They were trying to like get her to go along with it.
But why though? Like there's people, you know what I mean? If we're trying to do something, why would we go kidnap someone rather than just go outside and ask the 20 people who are begging to do it?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is there is no 20 people begging to do it. There's no one begging to do it. I think they were trying to get her to be like, it's an honor and, you should.
Oh, I see what you're saying. They were straight lying and saying that people are volunteering and honorably doing it when that's not even true.
Yeah, because I don't think anyone's going to go along with the sacrifice unless they at least feel special.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of cultures and stuff, they're very different in their way of thinking, and some of them,
She's an
it's
American.
believable enough that some people would do that because some people do that.
Yeah,
I
she's
don't
an
know.
American, so I don't believe that she would want to go along with that.
Oh yeah, no, I totally know she wouldn't be one of the volunteers. I'm just saying that I could believe that there would be volunteers
Oh,
because
yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah, there would be.
yeah. And a big thing behind the whole situation is they say you have to agree to it, but they don't tell you what's going on until the end. So that's not really agreeing to it if you drug them and terrorize them and impregnate them, then last minute be like, we're all gonna die if you don't say yes. So you better say yes. Like if even if they agreed at that point, they weren't in the right mind to make a decision and you impregnated them against their will. I guess it can be argued maybe that because according to the bartender, they chose to take the drug, but that's still not agreeing to that whole scenario. And why would they even let you film what they're doing to begin with?
Yeah,
It doesn't make sense to let them film it.
yeah, that's a good question.
And a man steals his phone and then deletes the video before he's able to take it back. Well, they were both passed out the first night and they knew he had a video of what happened, so why wouldn't they delete it before they woke up? Samantha, the Airbnb woman, could have easily done that. It's like they wanted them to know that it was happening or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I didn't really know what he deleted. Didn't make it very clear, but I can assume, yeah, it was that video that they were talking about.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't obvious. I just assumed that then, that it was the video.
I thought it might have been the video
And
of the kids that he had been taking.
oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe I just assumed that it was that video.
Yeah, it never made it clear, really.
Oh, okay. Well, then I can give that a pass then. But why the whole song and dance of letting them go and wander around, then randomly pulling her away to inject her and stuff like that? Why wouldn't they just get it all over with in one sitting? And why wait to have the husband kill himself? It just didn't seem to follow any logic.
Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yeah. The bartender lady, Maddie, who started it all and had the necklace, if she already had the necklace from the beginning, why would she need Christine to give it to her to heal her son? And I thought it only protects those chosen since they're half dead. So how could it heal the son anyway? That didn't seem to make that very clear.
I don't think that they're the same person. Like, the bartender and the woman with the son, like, those are two different people.
Oh, really? Are you sure? I really thought that was the same
That's what I
person.
interpreted it as. So the woman with the son, yeah, she wouldn't have access to the necklace because she's not the bartender. Yeah, she's just this other villager.
I see.
I could be wrong.
Okay, well, that would make more sense. So I hope that's the case. Because, yeah, it could have easily been me missing that. Okay, well, then the necklace thing is answered. But then also, as she's dying, she yells for Christine to run. But wouldn't her top priority be her son? And if she does run, she's taking the necklace with her.
Yeah, that's a It's a good question. The only thing I could assume is she's honestly just a good person and she didn't mean her any harm. She just really wants that necklace, but under the circumstances, they were kind of screwed. So she's just telling her to run for her life. She would want the necklace, but since they've been attacked, basically, in the moment, she's just telling her to run.
Right, that makes sense then. So I thought it was Maddie, so now I'm confused because I was thinking too, Maddie obviously didn't care about Christine at all. Like she was doing all this to her knowing what it was. So why would she at the end suddenly care what happens to her and tell her to run and everything? But if it's a different person, that would make sense. But it was also odd that they knew right away, right after they had the conversation. So it was like they were listening to them. So it seems like she would have known whether she was Maddie or not. Seems like she would know that, how they operate and that they would have heard her talking to her.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I don't know. And then my last con is just at the end, after running in the forest and they catch Christine. She wakes up at the ritual, and instead of running away again, she just slowly follows along the path looking at the people who are about to murder her. Then seems surprised when they grabbed her and tied her to a stake. Like, I don't know what she expected to happen exactly. Maybe she was tired of running at that point, but still.
Yeah, that was pretty gruesome. Sewing her eyes shut. And...
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't get why she didn't try running again. She just, like, walked right up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some of that was just cinematography. I think it's just they want the story to feel a certain way as it played out, and it didn't really make sense. The only thing I can attribute it to is it's the sacrifice needs to go through a journey before they actually are consumed, and that's part of the journey is what she went through. So choosing to keep the necklace, choosing not to leave the island when they gave her the opportunity to, stuff like that. So I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah, I guess.
Like I said, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but I think that's the direction they were trying to go with it.
Yeah, and that's what's hard for me. Like, I feel like they could, if they wanted her to walk down the thing for cinematography, they could have made it logical where there was no way that she could not walk forward. You know what I mean? All they had to do is have someone behind her, like threatening her with a gun or stabbing her in some way, or something to where she's not just choosing to walk through this thing when she could easily run into the forest.
Yeah. No, I definitely see your point there with that. But yeah, it's really a beautiful island. It's a nice, what is it, Myanmar? Is that where it was an island?
I'm actually not
I think
sure.
they might have said Myanmar, but I'm not sure. But yeah, it was a nice locale for that.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty. And like you said, it was good to a point for me. Like it kept my attention. It was interesting. It just after so many things to me didn't make sense and it started getting really repetitive and boring for me that I was just like, I can't recommend this
Yeah,
anymore.
it's just funny. Everyone has different requirements on what they need, to enjoy a movie. Obviously, there's movies that don't make sense and people love them. So
Yeah,
having
that's
logic
true.
and reasoning isn't necessarily a requirement. Closing up all the loose ends, that's also not a requirement because there's many movies that people like where it doesn't do that. It doesn't explain everything, or maybe nothing. So it's just this film was kind of in between that. It wasn't as unexplainable as Donnie Darko, but it wasn't as fleshed out as
Yeah.
I don't know Poltergeist. Like a horror movie where you know exactly what it is and it wraps it up in a nice tight bow.
Yeah.
So, and maybe that's part of the problem is it's kind of in between there because they didn't do a very good job of explaining the lore. In my opinion, I would like some more. Like I don't even know what she was being sacrificed to: the storm or the island in general, or
Yeah, I don't think they really
and I
said.
the mysteriousness kind of works a little bit, but I'm more a person that would like to know exactly what's going to happen to her. So the necklace was kind of keeping her alive, so she's already dead, and it kind of keeps her in between. They said like life and death or something. So,
Hmm.
and you can see that at the end, right when she washes up on shore, she's in that coffin, and I don't know what you call it. It's a coffin bag, basically. And they throw
Hmm.
the necklace on top of her in there, and she opens her eye. So I guess she's back alive again. I don't know what to make of that, but
Yeah, she's alive again and just in the bag.
they're all dead. Like all the island people were dead.
Yeah.
So, like you said, it never. I don't know if that's necessarily a healing property. That because why would the woman want that for her son if it just brings people back from the dead? Because he wasn't dead.
Yeah, unless she wanted him to come back to life when he was dead. I don't know. And if it does have healing powers, it just doesn't. It doesn't make sense to me. That's why I didn't like it. You did explain some of it though, like they could have been lying about volunteers wanting to do it, and maybe there weren't really any, so this is really what they had to do.
Yeah,
And yeah, maybe some of that ritual stuff, they had to do it in a specific way and they had to do it in the timing that they did it. It just seemed odd that they wouldn't just do it all in one go. So it's stuff that at least it could be that way, and that makes a little more sense, I guess. But I spend too much time being like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, what? The whole, you know what I mean? And I want to watch a movie and enjoy it, not be sitting there like, what? That doesn't even follow the rest of the story, you know?
Yeah. How much sense do you need something to make? Like, do you like Batman movies?
Yeah, they make sense within
It
their
needs to make sense within their
reality,
world.
though.
And this was set in the real world.
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
All right, I just
exactly.
wanted to clear that up because a lot of movies by nature generally, most movies are fantastical and don't make sense somewhere. You can find anything, if you look hard enough.
Yeah, that's true. But if this whole thing, let's say the volunteer, if there really is volunteers that want to do it, if there's volunteers, then this whole movie
Well,
makes no
yeah,
sense.
there wasn't. So, uh, because their
Yeah.
lives are on the line. They made a point when she broke free of the post. They're like, "Save us! You have to save us!" So it obviously was a big deal, but they were putting all their money on her, someone who was a tourist and very defiant. So if their lives are
Hmm.
on the line, and there's other candidates that are,
Well, the rich, they probably wouldn't have time to impregnate another person in time, right? So at that point, yeah, their only hope is her because there's a whole ritual involved. You
yeah,
know what I
like
mean?
she broke free from the post, right? And they're begging her, and then
Hmm.
the bartender, I think, I'm not sure who it is specifically, but someone says, "Wait, it has to be her choice," and it's like, well, you just had her tied up, so obviously it wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't
That
make sense.
Yeah, it didn't
No.
make sense, right? Because if you have to tie her up and that's still her choice, then why, when she breaks free, would you not tie her back up again? So
Yeah, that was kind of what I was saying in my cons too. They say you have to be willing, but they don't tell you anything that's going on and that's happening until the last minute, like yes or no, like after they force you to do all this other stuff. So
yeah,
it's not a real choice.
what really bugged me through really the whole film, but especially the last half, was I could see this coming from a mile away. So some of my cons are it's predictable. I knew everyone was involved.
Yeah,
I knew the whole island was involved.
yep. And you know that from the moment like they're freaking out and we're wandering around, like the very
I had
beginning
a
of the movie.
sense of it, but I was like, there could still be some good people there. Like, we don't know how wide this is, but by the first half to the middle, like, you definitely know it's island wide at this point. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it's supposed to be a revelation apparently that the fellow American woman that they rented the B&B from, she's in on it. It's like,
Hmm.
that was not a surprise.
Yeah.
So what was frustrating is that was painfully clear to me, yet the actors made decisions that didn't make sense and they didn't take it seriously enough. Well, we had discussed how you don't feel like there's much they could have done, right, in that situation, despite knowing.
I meant strictly in the beginning where they don't have their ID, so they missed the ferry, and then they accidentally left their luggage on there. That's all believable to me.
Yeah, and so I guess it wasn't an accident that their luggage got put on the boat without their passports. Like, right. So they were trying to isolate them, but
Hmm.
the sacrifice was their choice. So, like, see how this breaks down? It doesn't make sense. We're gonna
Yeah,
force you into a situation so then you can make a choice. So
exactly. And besides the fact, there's all those volunteers. And I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I agree with you. There probably wasn't, which makes a lot more sense.
yeah, I don't. I feel, and I mean, I just feel like there was stuff they could have done in that situation.
You mean the beginning part when they don't have their license or like their ID and they don't have their
Yeah,
passports. They said they had to have those to even get on the ferry to begin with.
well, yeah, I knew they say that, but as soon as people started screwing with them, like, I feel like that's when they could have taken initiative to actually get themselves off the island at any cost at that point, and they didn't. First, they lose their passports, and I can understand that. Like, they don't feel like there's any conspiracy against them. And then the luggage gets taken away, and they're
Hmm.
like, well, that could be an accident too. And she starts getting violently ill, right? When they go back to their apartment, and she's taking the necklace off. So there's something going on with that. And they look at this video, and they find that the culprit is actually the bartender or waitress. And then the
Hmm.
whole conversation with her, that's not, to me, that's when the screwiness starts, because you're drugging someone at that point, and she's saying, well, you asked for it. Like, I don't know, like, this is a gray area where it's like, so you offer someone something that's very dangerous, and you choose to offer it to them when they're drunk. So it's entrapment in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Like they act like it's her choice and his choice to do that, and I don't feel like it was. If you deliberately put someone in a situation where they can't be aware, fully aware of the decision they're making, and put them in that situation, then you're responsible. And it seemed like they were just like, oh, well, what can we do, right? She has a point. And it's like, no, she doesn't have a
Mm-hmm.
point at all. I would have threw that dang necklace off, though. I love she just kept laying it places, claiming to not have wanted it. I would have tossed it in the ocean.
Yeah, then she would have died though, which
Well,
would have been
yeah,
funny.
which is it's fine though because she didn't know what was going on. But the idea that she leaves this thing that she doesn't want and she just keeps leaving it around random places, like that's what's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna leave it next
agree.
to my
That's
plate,
true.
and then I'm gonna wonder how it got back on me. Like I don't know, like just weird stuff like that. I don't know. It's like I said, it's very bizarre. So you have that, and it just continues. Like they get the doctor, and he tries to offer them something. Remember? And they're like, "Don't take it. We're not taking it." Because I guess they were worried it was that drug again. And the tattoo artist, do you remember her?
Not
Yeah,
really.
she was doing these. I think the tattoo artist is the one with the sun. I think that's
Oh.
the same one. But just all of a sudden she lets loose. When she talks to her, she lets loose with all this stuff about how she's going to be a sacrifice, all this crazy business. And at that point, I feel like she should have known it was island wide at this point. Clearly, these people are bananas. And you should stop trusting all of them immediately. And I believe she's the tattoo artist is the
Mm-hmm.
one that had the gun. So yeah, I would have
Yeah,
got
she
that.
did.
I would have got something, and I would have like unleashed hellfire on those people until I could get a boat. But they didn't.
Yeah, because she did manage to get a boat pretty quickly when she really wanted one.
Who?
The Christine, the main character, didn't she get in a boat at some point at the end when she
Oh
refused to
yeah,
do it
that
and
was
like
just down by the
rode
shore, which
away?
is oddly convenient.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so if she really wanted one, apparently it wasn't that
Yeah,
hard.
like it's just bizarre. And then the whole denying the storm thing. Remember that when they're like, "There's a typhoon coming," and they're like, "There's been no typhoon in 200 years," but it's on the news. Like it's on the news everywhere. So
Yeah.
like that should have been one of their first clues.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not weird that I'm stuck on an island with everyone that's denying that a giant storm is coming. You know what I mean? And I love how they go
Right.
through all this, right? And the husband, they're like having a lunch right after you puke up, which is probably nice. They're having a lunch, and they choose to eat from these people. They choose to continue eating there, knowing that something was done to them. But that's besides the point. So they're having their mystery lunch, and some jungle children come by. Like they were wearing masks and
Children.
everything.
Did you notice some look like the Joker?
Yeah, you're right. It was like white masks with like red lips and exaggerated
Mm-hmm.
smiles.
Yeah.
But he sees them go by and she goes, "That's okay, honey. That's what you came here for. Go film them." So they're in very vulnerable positions. And her advice at that point is to tell her husband to go follow these children around.
Yeah, that didn't make
I mean,
sense.
you're obviously feel deeply violated, and you're puking up dirt and grass. So you go to have a meal again. And I get that maybe there's not a lot of options around there, but I definitely wouldn't be going back to that place to eat. And
Mm-hmm.
I would want to eat something that I saw prepared, maybe not had prepared for me. But so yeah, it's just very strange behavior. They didn't take the threat at all seriously until it was way too late. And it never said what they injected her eye with. Like, I don't know what the point of that was.
Yeah, I don't either. I think it was just to be creepy and gross because it didn't make sense either. Yeah, I don't. I honestly have no clue.
And I love how the husband disemboweled himself on the dock, and they were like trying to frame her for the murder at first or something. Like, I don't know. It was just bizarre. Like, and she's like, "I didn't do it."
Framed
Framed
her for
her
the murder.
for
What do you mean?
his disembowelment and disappearance.
When did they
Well,
try to frame her? I don't remember that.
So you had the main character, then you had that woman with the child who owns the B&B, and then you had a cop.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all having this conversation as she's wigging out. And the conversation seemed to take a turn to like, he's missing and he got stabbed and you know about it, but he did it to himself. And it just seems like the cop starts to assume that maybe she has something to do with it. Because she's saying there's blood on the dock.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that then. I didn't notice him thinking it was her because the whole time I thought that they were saying that it was just her, like he wasn't even
Her
there.
body was, but she had blood on her hands that she got off the dock. And They were maybe saying, where did the blood come from? And he killed himself, but he's not here, and the tide was out when that happened. And you know, so I don't know. Like I said, I think it makes sense. Any cop would be like, she seems a little crazy, so maybe she had something to do with this. Of course she didn't, but we don't know that. I don't know. Like I said, this is actually difficult to talk about. That's part of what I didn't like, is the fact that there were so many flashbacks and dream sequences.
Yeah, it was overdone
on what was actually happening and what wasn't happening. And I think that was intentional. They wanted to create that air of paranoia and confusion. But they did a little bit too much of it. I still would have liked to see a giant beast come out of the ocean. She's going to be sacrificed. And we're still questioning, what is she going to be sacrificed to?
Oh.
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
But the post she was attached to was like in the mainland of the island. It was like, so it wasn't something from the sea necessarily, and that's just going to walk across the entire island, to where she was at.
Yeah, maybe they were just going to burn her, and that was it.
A symbolic sacrifice to maybe something that wasn't physical, but spiritual or multidimensional in nature. Because these natives that had like their mouth sewn shut and their eyes sewn shut, remember they would visit her, and so it was like she was communing some other side or other reality. So yeah, I don't know. I like when she's in the car with the B&B lady and she blows her head out. Like, that was when she finally started to try to take control of the situation. And I was like, finally.
Right.
Of course, I knew it was way too late at that point, which ended up being true. Like, instead of blowing her brains out, she should have, like, I don't know, held a gun on her and then told her to take her to the dock. But instead, she just chose to annihilate her. But then again, this lady's probably crazy to begin with, so you can't trust them.
Yeah, and the daughter was in on it. Like, she knew everything too. So I don't know if she could. It's safer to just get rid of that lady than like try to get her to take her somewhere, or you hold a gun to her, make her get out of the car, and then you drive yourself to the pier. Even though I don't think she knew totally where it was.
And this person she killed, that was her only real translator for the natives on the island, right? So
that's true.
She definitely could have had a use. She just needed to bend her to her will somehow, and the gun would have been a good starting point for that. But yeah, and the daughter, that wasn't even her daughter, remember? That was the daughter of someone that had been sacrificed. So when was she going to have her baby? That's the question, I guess.
When was who going to have what baby?
Impregnated, remember? Well, when was she going to give birth to that? Or,
I don't think they actually give birth. I think they were saying that that's just part of the ritual, and they all die with being pregnant for some reason.
They made it a point of saying that the B&B's lady's daughter, that wasn't her daughter. That was the daughter of someone that had been sacrificed.
I don't think that girl was one of the pregnant people from the ritual. Pregnant people was one of the children like born from the ritual. I think that someone that was sacrificed already had a kid.
That's true. Yeah, I guess that makes more sense because they didn't really give you time for that baby to come to terms exactly. Like, they need more than a night.
Yeah, I think for whatever reason, the sacrifice is supposed to be pregnant with whatever it was. Wasn't it like half human, half something else or something? I don't remember now.
Because the half was the husband, right?
Yeah, they said half was the husband and half was like spirit or something. I don't even know. But it was never actually born as far as I understood, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. This movie is really weird the more I think about it.
Yeah, that is true.
So, I guess in summary, I would say, well, it's a decent show that had its flaws and was ultimately a disappointment. I still think it has its place on streaming services such as Netflix, where we found it, because it's just something to watch on the weekend or on a rainy day when nothing's going on and you're bored. I think it would be totally suited for that, with keeping your expectations in check for what you're going to get. So yeah, I would say give it a go, and I think that Minky would agree with me. I will see you next time. So that's a wrap.
Lone Food Media.